So there's this story of a couple guys from other countries who have been arrested for making threats, and it got me thinking as to the current state of America and how we are this culture of outspoken violence. By the way, I'm sorry, my throat's a bit scratchy. I have a terrible voice anyway, so it's probably an upgrade if anything. But I'm sorry about that. So, the story here of Thomas Szabo, 26, of Romania, and Nemanja Radovanovic, 21, of Serbia, who targeted roughly 100 people with swatting calls, which they then explain swatting is to instigate an aggressive response by police officers at the victim's home. I don't know why everyone still feels the need to explain swatting, but I guess it is important. Like every single year, you get these people. I mean, these news stories of like, don't put your kids and your pets in the hot car and leave them there. And then every single year, there's like tens and tens of children who lose their lives because their parents left them in the hot car while they went inside and got their nails did, or went to a strip club, or went gambling or something. And it's like, holy hell, why does anyone need to be told that? I don't know, but I'm digressing. But these two, well, before I get into these two, there's this other guy who was related. He was an associate of Szabo, they said, which I don't know what that exactly means. This guy was a juvenile at the time, and they did say that a juvenile was feeding Szabo information, but these people they were targeting were mostly government officials, so their information was public, so they didn't really need some sort of informant, especially a juvenile informant. So this guy, the other two combined, they did like 100. I think it was like 40 civil or like private people, and then like 61 civil servants, and like congressmen and stuff as well. They were crazy with it. But this guy, well, first of all, he's from Florida, so he's in the country, in the USA, doing crank calls by sending the SWAT on people, and he was a juvenile when he did it, but then he was 18 when he admitted to it, and so he was tried as an adult, which is absolutely clown shit. I mean, you're telling me that this guy swatted 375 people, and he would have been tried as a juvenile, but because he admitted to it when he was an adult, that makes it worse. Like that's just silly. Like I don't just try them as an adult anyway. I mean, they swatted 375 people within a span of August 22nd to January 2024. That's less than 2 years for 375 SWAT calls. That's like a one a day of SWATs for an entire year's worth in less than 2 years. So this guy Filian was charged with this and given 4 years in prison, and I guess that's where Filian went. Oh no, wait, this is spelled differently. Oh, it's Filion. Alan Filion. Oh, my bad. Sorry, that was some fake news. I guess that's not where Filian went. I don't know. Well, going back to the story of Szabo and Radovanovic, these two, they did a lot of stuff, and this is not just getting angry at someone playing Call of Duty and you SWAT their house and tell them that you heard gunshots or you heard raised voices and the cops go out to investigate or something. This is bad stuff. They even targeted a quote-unquote former elected official from the executive branch, which is heavily suggested to be a former president. It says Radovanovic falsely reported a killing and threatened to set off an explosive on that person's home. And then loads of other stuff as well, threatening to blow up explosives at the U.S. Capitol and a university. There was a lot of stuff about Trump as well, like Trump and the judges surrounding Trump. And they did say, I'll get to that. There's other things, like Szabo organized and moderated chat groups that coordinated the swatting attacks against these people. So it wasn't just them. They were the ringleaders. And I guess they, like, cut the head off the snake, so to speak. But the thing is, I want the rest of the snake to also be punished. Here it is. 3 days before Joe Biden's inauguration as the president, Szabo called a crisis intervention hotline and threatened to detonate explosives at the Capitol Hill at the Capitol, and to then ace the president-elect. So, I mean, these people were calling in crank calls to the USA, threatening to ace the president 3 days before they were elected into presidency. I mean, that's outrageous, and I don't think it's partisan either. I mean, because they said, well, I mean, it's just a claim they made, but Szabo told Radovanovic that they should pick targets from both the Republican and Democratic parties because, quote, we are not on any side. Now, maybe they just said that to sort of make themselves sound better. I don't know. I mean, you'd have to look at every single one of these stories, and a lot of these victims have their identities hidden for obvious reasons. But it reminded me of this story, which I also saw today. This is from Florida, but I'm from Georgia, so I get a lot of Florida stuff bleeding over into my local news. So these two kids, oh, they're 18, but I mean, they're still basically kids in this era. 18-year-olds, they grow up on iPhones and video games. They're not really adults. So these two 18-year-olds, they drove a lawnmower into a Target as part of a social media stunt. Now, the Target, for anyone who doesn't know, is a big convenience store. Not a convenience store. It's a like a commercial chain store, like Walmart and such. So they drove a lawnmower into it for a viral video, and the night before that, it says they were at a Culver's fast food restaurant using a leaf blower to annoy people, presumably for another video. And you could see there that this guy on the left who looks like he should be in the woods on a dark night with a banjo, and the guy on the right who looks like a clavicular cosplayer. They've both got their hair done up nice. They look like some like aged out Kingdom Hearts actors for like a live action movie, and then they got delayed. Like Kingdom Hearts 3 just took 20 years to come out, and these two grew up and they got canceled out of the movie. I guess they got their hair done up nice for the viral video, or maybe it's for the mugshot. I don't know, but these two don't look very repentant to me. I don't know. I mean, going back to these two, do you think, well, three, I suppose, if you count Fillion, do you think that they're going to be repentant? 4 years, by the way. They got 4 years for these threats, hundreds of them, and big threats. I mean, calling in bomb threats on the would be president. I mean, on the president who did become the president. I mean, it's and I don't know all the other people. They list some, like U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan, but they don't have all the names, obviously. And it's like, these people got 4 years for this. Is that enough? I mean, on one hand, you could say that they didn't hurt anybody, but swatting people, it's like, you have to understand what happens to someone's mind when their sanctuary has been destroyed. Swatting people, it's like a mental attack, right? It's not like someone actually broke into your house, but what happens when someone breaks into your house? Not that it's ever happened to me, but it changes every moment of your life from then on out. Your safe space has been destroyed. The place that protected you no longer protects you, and it never will again. Now, this is the way you live your life right now, even if your house hasn't been broken into, but the fact that it's actually happened makes it so much realer and so much scarier. And I've never been sexually assaulted, but I would expect that it's very similar on a mental level. It's very similar. Like, you were violated, you were tainted, your home is no longer safe, and you will never again feel like it is safe. No matter what you do, you could dedicate your life to martial arts and weapons masteries, and always have a gun on you, and have locks and cameras and dogs, and it's never going to be enough. You're always going to feel like you've got someone behind you with a knife. And it's more of a mental attack rather than someone actually breaking into their homes. But this is, as they say, not a victimless prank. It's horrible. And then they say, when these people got caught, some of the people who they had swatted were excited. They're thrilled over it. Georgia State Senator Clint Dixon, a Republican whose Beaufort home was targeted by swatting calls on Christmas in December 26th of last year, said he felt a sense of relief, and his wife was elated after the Secret Service told him the suspects had been identified. Dixon has said that both times a police tactical team, fire trucks, and an ambulance responded. What happened to me and my family was very scary for my children, for my wife and my children, Dixon said. It could have been a very dangerous situation. These ads on AP News just keep moving the text around. It's so annoying. Anyway, yeah, like that can happen too. I didn't really think to mention it, but that also can happen, which is that, the SWAT team, they might have an oopsie, or maybe they bust in on someone and they're high or they're drunk, or they've just been scared, and they might pull it. Like, who knows? And maybe they're in the middle of some weird sex addict, and the cops bust in and they find, Clinton's in his cowboy boots, greased up in butter. Well, now all the cops know about that. Like, this is not a victimless prank, and these people only got 4 years. Now, the important thing to note here is that they only got 4 years, but also it was only because these people had called in hundreds of SWAT calls against prominent people. the most of prominent people, like the tippity top of the totem pole. And it still took years. This all started, at least for Szabo and well, I don't know if the other guys as well, but I think Szabo, at least it said it started at the tail end of 2020. Now I don't know exactly when they were arrested, but they were saying they were swatting people even in 2024, so they were doing it for years on congressmen and councilmen and vice presidents and president elects and such. It's taken that long to get these guys, and they were doing it at the highest level. Now you imagine all the people out there talking about how streamers deserve to be aced, how they want to put out bounties on like Asmongold and stuff. How whoever it is, who it doesn't matter if they're a podcast bro, a streamer, a YouTuber, or just some random person with an opinion on the internet. We have become such a violent culture, and it really is a bad thing that's projecting ourselves very negatively to the world. And you have to think that really is our fault. That is America's fault. Like, these people from Romania, from Serbia, and the one guy who was even from the USA, they thought they were totally fine making SWAT calls, hundreds of SWAT calls against incredibly powerful people, because that's just what America is, man. That's how everyone looks at America, and that is how people look at America. That is our fault, not necessarily an individual's fault, but the whole of the country. I mean, you think about how anyone in the world, anyone outside of Africa anyway, how do they think about black people? Well, they probably, I mean, maybe not like Haitians or Jamaicans or whatever, but outside of a black dominant country, these people probably think about black people the way Hollywood represents them, right? Like, they're not thinking about Jamaican voodoo doctors or Nigerian tribals or whatever the hell. I don't know. Nigeria probably doesn't have tribals. I don't know. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about some ghetto gangster who's pushing drugs and who's got his jeans around his knees, and he's got one hand holding his balls and the other hand holding a Glock sideways, right? You think about, how do you think about women? You think about a hoe. You don't think about a judge. You don't think about a doctor. You think about a hoe. Because every time you look at your phone, every time you play a game, every time you watch anime, every time you watch a movie, all you see is hoes. Every woman is a hoe. That's how they're represented. That's how people see them. Every time you think of a Muslim, you think of Johnny Jihad, don't you? You're not thinking of any kind of peaceful, intelligent person. You're thinking of Johnny Jihad. That's the way it's all represented, mostly by Hollywood, if we're being honest, but by pretty much all sources at this point. And America has represented themselves as a very violent nation, which there are a lot of deaths here because of violence, because of drugs and violence, I suppose, which, you know, usually go hand in hand. But it's not a great look, and a lot of it is because of our gang culture, and that is something that should theoretically be easy to clean up, because it's the whole of the country. Like, everyone should be acting to fix that problem. Like, and when I say everyone, I don't like necessarily mean like literally everyone, but like every single town council, every mayor, every governor, every individual aspect of the apparatus of the government should be trying to push to get rid of this kind of like bad culture, the bad vibes that are creating bad people. But for some reason, it not only lingers on, but in some cases it's even getting stronger in certain areas of the country. And it's well, I say certain areas of the country. I mean, God, look at the internet. Like I was saying earlier, it's just constant threats. I mean, it's the entire story here is internet threats, I suppose, or telephonic threats anyway. But I just wanted to make another quick little video because it's just funny to me that these guys did this for so long. They did it to such a profuse amount, so many calls, and against the highest echelons of power, really, in the world. I mean, 3 days before Biden was inaugurated, and they're calling in bomb threats and stuff. Like, and they took years to get them, which I suppose, like, you know, they're in Romania and Serbia, but those aren't exactly like the other. It's not like it's North Korea or something, you know. It's not like the heart of China. So they took that long to get them, and they only got 4 years. That kind of makes me feel like nothing is ever going to happen to these people who are all over Reddit or Blue Sky or X or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, like wherever it is. I mean, and those are just the main social media sites. There's countless forums, countless public forums where all this stuff festers. And, you know, you can hate someone as much as you want. Hate me as much as you want. I don't care. I mean, I care, I guess. Like, I don't want people to hate me, but you know, there's nothing I could do about it. I just don't feel like people should go around doxing, threatening, calling in threats, swatting. It's just silly, and it's a very ugly thing that we're projecting to the world for our country, for who we are. That I think that, if we have any kind of self-respect, like, we shouldn't want to look like that to the rest of the world. We shouldn't want, like, I guess I've seen so many Reddit threads where they're apologizing, literally apologizing to the rest of the world for our president, for our Republicans, for our white people, for our men, for whatever it is, for our Christians. They're publicly apologizing to the rest of the world. The rest of the world doesn't want to hear it. They just say, go F yourself. We don't, like, a lot of people don't even care about the apology because it's not like it's any one person's fault. They just, it's like a lot of people think that they can solve the problem by committing violence, whatever. And first of all, they're defining what the problem is and why it's a problem, which it may not even be a problem. So they're creating the problem in their head, and then they're solving that problem with violence. But all that's really going to represent to the world is that we are a nation of violence, where even the lowest of the low can commit violence on the highest of the high, and it's seen as a good thing in certain circles because bitterness and anger, because they feel some sort of resentment that they have towards someone, some indignation that they deserve something more than they really do. And I'm just sick of seeing it, I guess, but what else can I do besides squawk on the YouTube about it, really? So that's what I did, and I'll continue to do. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.